What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Nani Network. I'm Eli, and as usual, I'm here with my partner Shay, and we're going to be bringing you our Wheel of Names episode today. If you watched a couple episodes back, we announced that we were going to be watching 2 random anime. We spun a wheel, we found them out, we said we weren't going to change on them, and guess what? Guess what?
We lied.
We lied, and we are so sorry. Well, initially we got DoroHeDoro and Kaguya-sama Love is War, and I don't want to say we couldn't do it, but I was dreading it, and then Shay called me and let me know.
Wow, you didn't have to.
That she couldn't do it, which means I 1000% could not do it. She knows me. She knows my spirit. So when Shay says it's time to go, it's time to go. So we respun. We did keep it random. And we got another choice, Angel of Death.
And I honestly think that was our punishment.
Yes, we got some instant karma on this one. But to keep the mood light, we're going to be starting with DoroHeDoro. So Shay, tell us about it.
All right. So DoroHeDoro follows the story of Kaiman. He's a human who was cursed by a sorcerer and now has the head of a reptile. Huh? Joined by his friend Nikaido, Kaiman is on a mission to recover his lost memories and locate the warlock responsible. So let's kick things off with these. We're going to do 3 things you need to know just because these shows are a little bit on the shorter side. So the first thing that you need to know about DoroHeDoro is that Kaiman is cursed. So again, as mentioned in the summary, Kaiman was cursed by a sorcerer, and in that process he does get amnesia, so he doesn't remember who he is or his past, and now he doesn't even know what he looks like.
My man's was found in the street with a lizard head.
Yeah, so you don't got no ID on you. I can't identify you. You can't identify you.
In the slums too, like he's in the gutter. Like, how you wake up in the PJs?
So, fortunately he did survive the cursing, because sometimes people don't, because they're literally like guinea pigs for the sorcerers. But so his mission now is to get uncursed, one, because
uncursed.
He looks like an alligator from the neck up. So he wants to get uncursed, and I'm also going to assume he hasn't said it explicitly, but I'm going to assume that he also wants to kill the warlock responsible.
Oh, fuck yeah. Nah, Kaiba's crazy. I'm pretty sure he's going there to kill that dude. So, I don't think he cares whether or not anyone really lives. Any warlock lives or dies.
Yeah, and you know what? He's actually making good progress with this mission, and that is in part due to the fact that he is immune to magic. So I'm not sure if this was something that happened prior to him being cursed, like when he was a regular human, if he had this immunity to magic, or if it was something that developed as a side effect of the curse.
Well, obviously not. He got cursed by magic.
Oh. Well, maybe they. But
I think it's a side effect of the curse.
Yeah,
definitely, and it helps that inside his mouth now he has a fucking.
Yes,
somebody in there. He literally has somebody in his mouth. The way that he's able to find a sorcerer is that he locks onto these guys, full jaw, engulfs your head like an alligator would.
To have a conversation with this person.
To have a conversation with a random person in his throat. Like, he pops up and it looks like he walks up. I'm like, how big is it in there, bro?
So his amnesia is so bad that he doesn't even know if the person in his mouth is him or not. No, he said it. Yeah, he doesn't know. He's just like, what did the guy in my mouth tell you? Like,
he asked, what does he look like?
Yeah. So it's really bad. Somebody's living rent free inside of you, or we don't even know what the situation is. But that's Kaiman's deal. He has a lot of reason to be pissed. He has a good motivation. So that's what's good with Kaiman.
All right. Second thing you need to know about this anime are the warlocks.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So, contrast to Kaiman, they have the warlocks and the people who cursed him. So, as far as he's concerned, all these motherfuckers are his enemies. Mm-hmm. He don't mess with any of them. And he actually makes sure that his squad and everyone around him knows that, yo, I do not mess with warlocks. Nikaido, his, partner in all of this, she goes around with his him, friend. Killing them. For sport.
Not for sport.
Not for sport, in an effort to identify. But I don't think the guy who cursed you is mutzing around in the slums still, chilling. They're killing the warlocks who are in the slums,
right?
And fucking them up.
Nikaido's such a good friend. She's just I'm completely with the shits.
Just down.
Yeah.
But of course, amongst the warlocks, they're killing the little babies right now. But there is what seems to be the elite group of warlocks, and it's led by this guy named N, who has mushroom transformation magic. So he
is not.
That's
it's
what it
so
says.
Funny, yes.
But he can turn anything, anyone, into a mushroom. He eats mushrooms. He could protect himself with mushrooms. He could develop a shield out of mushrooms. He's just this weird guy, but he's actually absolutely batshit crazy, so everyone fears him.
Even though his power sounds like very comical,
it seems to affect everybody.
He's a bad man. Like, he's actually pretty terrifying because after he, like, transforms his enemies into mushrooms, he eats it.
Right. He doesn't see it as cannibalism. He's like, what? It's a mushroom. It's like, yikes. But he has his little gaggle of kids, Noe, Shin, Ebisu, and a couple other people.
Warlocks who report directly to him. So the N family, like a corporation. The N family are the leaders of the sorcerer world, basically. Mm-hmm. And like, they're the strongest of the bunch. So I think Noe's,
people want to be a part of it.
Yeah, Noe's his cousin, so that explains why she's like
equally as crazy. Noe be fucking wildin'. But the warlocks, they work in pairs. So everyone has a partner, and that's N's goal. N's goal is to find this mysterious partner of his who can control something that'll bring about his grand plan, which we don't completely know yet, but he has a grand plan and he needs a certain type of magic to do it, and he refuses to accept anyone as his partner unless it's that person. Mm-hmm. So, Noe has her partner Shin, who's super fire, and they have like this weird ass relationship. I don't know, like, I'm not here for anime characters fucking, but these might be one of the few characters that I'm like, if y'all need to like go in the closet real quick and like bust it out, like, knock it out real quick. You like them together? I don't know if I like them together, but it feels like there's a lot of freaking angst, tension, right? Every time they're in the room, like, he saw Shorty a mold of her naked that wasn't even really her. He's like, put some clothes on her, please. So, they have this weird relationship, but the important thing to note about these partnerships is that it's literally signing a contract with a devil. So this world, they have devils, which are like an ascending, larger magical power source than just a regular warlock. They call them like close to God. Yeah, but the opposite. Polar opposite. But, you literally tear a sheet of paper out of your heart and you sign an agreement to maintain partnership with this person until the next, blue moon or blue festival that they have, or until that person dies and you're in need of a new partner.
This might all sound like gibberish if you haven't watched DoroHeDoro, because a lot of the concepts in this show are just like, kind of like you see it to believe it, because it's like, it's just wow. It's like, us explaining that to you makes no fucking sense.
Tear a sheet out of your heart.
But like, when you watch the show, it will also make no fucking sense. But it's just like you'll understand it. It's just the way that society and that world is set up.
Yeah, I think they paint the picture pretty well. Got it.
I didn't say it was bad, but I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things where it's just so,
they create a world
fantastical that is just like kind of hard to just explain in like layman terms, like without what are you talking about? Like Blue Festival Week, like
they sign a contract and they tear the sheet out of their heart. Normal shit.
Regular stuff.
regular.
All right, so the last thing that you need to know about DoroHeDoro is that there are two separate worlds or dimensions that you can say. So one of those dimensions is referred to as the Whole, and that's where all non-magic users reside. And the other world is referred to as the magic user world, and maybe kind of obvious, but that's where all of the magic users and devils reside. Right. So the differences between these worlds is just that the Whole is like this run down piece of shit city.
The
ghetto. City. It is literally a city in shambles. If you ever saw like the first few episodes of The Walking Dead and like Rick goes back to the city, that's what that shit looks like. Just tatters.
The ghetto.
It looks like it smells. It looks so bad. It looks like Skid Row. If Skid Row was like multiplied, it's so bad, honestly. And the people there seem to just kind of be resigned to their fate, because what happens is the sorcerers from the magic user dimension, they essentially use like the humans in the Whole as guinea pigs to test out their sorcery and their magic.
Magic. Sorcery.
As what happens with Kaiman. And obviously these people, the regular people, have no have nothing to combat the sorcerers. So they're just kind of like, you walking down the street one day, a nigga might turn you into a bug.
Right.
That's
and there's nothing they can
and
do
there's
about
nothing
it.
that you can do about it. The most people either die or just have to literally live the rest of their lives.
And that's cool because that's
disfigured.
something to note, because I think that's going to be like kind of a plot point they're pushing for season 2, because they did say at one point the whole did have this crazy strong resistance that was like, possibly about to fuck some warlocks up.
Bitch, I would take you out.
But then, once one fell, they all fell, and it kind of disappeared. So maybe, Kaiman and his crew are about to retake up that mantle.
They should, because y'all just can't be running around unchecked like this, because I'm just like, how is there even like regular humans still alive?
Yeah, right?
Because y'all just keep doing fuck shit to them. But
and like the wizards are like fucking Monsters Inc. popping out of fucking doors anywhere in the book. It's like, open the door to the hole.
So that's another thing important to mention, is how like the worlds are connected. So the sorcerers can connect to the hole through these portals that basically look like Monsters Inc. doorways. Literally. And they just pop out and pop in when they feel like. I don't think that humans, well, I guess obviously they can't reach.
They don't have the fucking ability to conjure it up. Here's another example of humans being trash. Yeah. Like they can just come in and fuck us up. But then we're lost and stuck here just waiting for the next attack.
What I want to know is why people are still even reproducing in this kind of world. Why would you want to make kids?
Just
because
end it.
That was problem solved for me. Like, why would you? No one is forcing y'all to fuck. No one is forcing y'all to continue this wretched ass lifestyle. Yo. Just die. Oh.
And even the fucking restaurant. No, like her restaurant, Nikaido's restaurant. And you know what? I know Nikaido isn't a dirty girl. I think
somebody needs to send the health inspector there, because I think Nakado's using humans, just like on some Sweeney Todd bullshit.
Could she just be dicing up meat?
Where are you getting all this fresh?
It's red. It's rich. It looks like it has the fat. I don't know. I don't trust it. But that like is the 3 things you need to know about DoroHeDoro wrapped all the fuck up. Next we're gonna do character you fuck with.
Okay.
Ooh, shade.
Oh, I gotta go first?
I don't know.
Okay, so my character, I really enjoyed DoroHeDoro, because especially right after watching Plunderer, not sure if you guys heard our review on that one, episode 3, but my critique about Plunderer was that there was no strong female support.
Word.
But DoroHeDoro had, 2?
I would honestly count Ebisu.
So it had 2.
Yeah.
No.
3. No. I would count her.
I would not.
I don't want to give away the spoilers, but she is a key person in this entire series.
She does get... Okay, I forgot about that.
She's badass. Like,
okay.
She's a ditz.
She could have definitely died off in like episode 3 super easy, but yeah, she has the ability to... She has potential, right?
Yeah, like I can see her
trying to sound like a high school gym teacher. She has potential. Fuck Ebisu. But... the character that I fuck with would be Nikaido. So she's the one who's Kaiman's friend. I just like her personality. Like, she's super chill. She's super strong, because she was able to go toe-to-toe with Noe, which was,
baby got back.
Pick your battle, sweetie. But she's very good at fighting. She's a good friend to Kaiman. I do empathize with her backstory. We do find out that she herself is a sorcerer, and I wouldn't call it a lie. I think it was omission, and I understand why she didn't tell nobody. That's really not none of y'all business.
Mind your business.
But I enjoy Nikaido as a character.
I too really do enjoy.
And I think that she's a good match for Kaiman. Because
I agree.
Yes, without being like, because usually when they have like a super hyper main character, they'll do the polar opposite and give you like this like frumpy sad kid, but she mellows him out without them having to like make her
also matching his energy at the same time. It seems like
so they're a great pair.
When he like misses a kick, she's like double kick to the throat, nigga, like you're done.
I thoroughly enjoy Nikaido. She's a great support to the main character, and she holds her own. And as we see, like, we might find out more of Nikaido's backstory in season 2, which I am excited as fuck to see, because maybe it's
Nah, that's dope. I love Nikaido too. I felt like when it came to this anime, they had a plethora of characters, but when it came down to like the character you fuck with, I felt like we only might have had 2. And Shanice said one of them, and to me, the other one is freaking Noe. Like, the females dominated. The females dominated this anime for me. Like, literally, I was waiting for Noe or Nikaido to kick ass, and when they said those two were gonna fight, Oh, yikes.
I am excited to see them have like another
bout, because that wasn't even for real, and Nikaido's only growing. But Noe, she is a warlock who's already in the wizarding world, and she's partners with Shin, and she's just crazy powerful. And she's a ditz. She's like this big,
she's
brawling.
So funny.
She's the equivalent of like a gym rat who's like a female gym rat.
Who's
literally.
hot and like
she's hot. She has like this huge rack, and she's just like, Shin, where are you?
Shin, you did it!
She's so much. She's the comic relief for me in a little bit, but then she also has this crazy power where she can heal anyone and anything. Like, she got blew up and they threw her body in a non-magical cabinet for her to die, and somebody opened it and she literally replenished her entire body. I'm talking about muscle. We were seeing her down to muscle for majority of her skin, and she regenerated herself in an instant.
To a certain extent, she can also reverse like the effects of certain magic, because remember there was a point where En got pissed off and Shin got caught in the crossfire, so he started to transform, his body started to transform into a mushroom, and she was able to reverse that. I don't know.
She's generated limbs for people. She generated Ebisu's whole face back. Like, you know, she is super badass. She's actually a nice person. And, you know, when they tell us her backstory, because at first you are kind of led to believe that these warlocks are assholes, but you got to understand, like, in every scenario, like, people are just normal people.
And
not
doing their
everyone,
job.
yeah, not everyone is responsible for, like, the strife that's put on the whole, or blah, blah, blah. They're just upkeeping it. And Noe is an example of that. She's just chilling. She just really wants to be strong. At one point, she was taking training to become a devil, but she's such a good person that the only reason that didn't work out for her was because her heart wouldn't let her, you know, abandon someone in need, aka someone who later become her partner, Shin. Aww. So I really liked her. I liked her compassion.
Something else about Noe is that I feel like when they give somebody like the healing power, they usually like cap them in every other aspect. Like that's all you can do.
You can only come in at the end
but
to heal. Yeah.
Noe is not, you know, for defensive purposes. She is a fighter. She's on the front line.
She took a bullet for Shin because she knew he couldn't handle it, and then still came back like a seconds later to fuck shit up. Like,
they had no qualms with making her ridiculously strong, and on top of that, she's a healer. Get the fuck out.
And that's what I would do. Like, that's what I feel like people, if you have that healing ability, it's like playing fucking Overwatch, and you have to play as these healers in Overwatch who are trash. They got like 100 health. It's horrible. Just because I'm a healer does not mean I'm trash in every other aspect. I'm out to fuck you up, and fuck you up means I'm Noe. Period. But that's the characters you fuck with. That's that on that.
Yeah. Next, we are going into our Lock That Bitch In. Elijah, what do you see coming up and happening in DoroHeDoro Season 2?
Wow. So, in DoroHeDoro Season 2, what the fuck do I think is going to happen? So, the story kind of progressed kind of slow. There was a lot of information to take in, I feel like, what this anime did. So I feel like there's a lot more explanation to do for a lot of things. I don't feel like they answered a lot of questions, and I don't feel like they presented a whole lot of questions. But what I'm going to lock in as what's going to happen next is that Kaiman himself is a warlock. I think the type of curse that he has, because now that we have a little bit of information on magic and we've seen a lot of magic be performed throughout the season, I think the type of curse that this person put on him, there's much more to the story as to why Kaiman was chose to get this curse. So I definitely think that maybe he was a warlock and he was doing some shit, or maybe he was a human, but I think he was a warlock, and I think somebody was getting at him, or maybe he was digging in some shit that he couldn't, because just listening to him talk and seeing how he is now. Or maybe
he was a really strong warlock.
And they wanted him out the way.
Yeah, that's
you
a
know,
good point.
Like, you know, there's a lot to see with that, but I'm going to speculate that he's a warlock, and that just makes it, that's going to make it really cute for me to see how he gets mad when it's like, oh, I'm a warlock too. Yeah, you are.
They do love breaking these babies, like, mission statements just down, like, if that's what you thought you was going to do, well, fuck you.
And I think that'd be really cool, you know, like, when he gets uncursed, because I assume that they will eventually do that, and I don't think the series has to revolve just around Kaiman being cursed. I think it could be one of these series that maybe that was the first few things, like, okay, breaking this curse, but I think the series could continue after him being cursed. I don't think that's the main thing. I don't give too much of a fuck about him being cursed. Like, it is the main point right now, but once he gets uncursed, I think the universe is really interesting, and I think it's cool enough to move past that. and like kind of forget about him being cursed. And if he's a warlock, I think that'd be a cool stepping stone to get it there.
They have ample content to really build upon and give us like a good couple of seasons out of this.
Dimensions.
When you finish up with one, just go to the other one.
Make whatever you want, you know, and make it make sense. Period.
Okay, so my lock that bitch in is that, okay, so if you watch DoroHeDoro, you would see at the end it was revealed that Nikaido, Kaiman's closest friend, she is actually a warlock herself.
Ah! No!
She is actually a warlock herself. And Kaiman does find out he's very upset about it. He feels betrayed.
She's a jackass.
Men and their feelings. But so he asks her to promise him that she won't ever use her magic.
He's an ass. And he's dumb. He's a dumbass.
Like, he was like, oh, you know, we can still be buddies, but you just
these protagonists with these unrealistic
just dumb as fuck. That pissed me off. Like, that's stupid to ask, one, and it's not like you making it like she wasn't doing nothing nefarious with it. Like, it's just how she happened to be born. Mm-hmm. So she made him the promise that no, she would never use her magic again. Fuck us. Like, you know, that's not gonna happen. So what I think is gonna happen, I think that she's gonna break her promise, and I think that she's gonna break her promise trying to save his life or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would see him still being a dickhead and being like, well, you promised, like, you would never use it. I think
you should definitely lock in that it's gonna be to save his fucking life.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely gonna be to save his fucking
right.
life. Because, like, she went so long without using her magic. The only reason she used her magic in the show was, I think, to protect the group. Like, Kaiman wasn't there, but she was protecting their friends. And that's the only reason why she, like, you know, started using her magic in the first place. It's like, okay, well, everyone knows now. I might as well
She's
tell
not
Kaiman.
even proud about being a warlock. Like, she
there's a reason she lives in the slums.
Exactly, because she's a strong warlock. She doesn't have to be there.
That's where, like, the idiocy of some of these protagonists kind of get me tight, because it's like, okay, sometimes you can understand. I get it, though. She did choose to continue to lie.
You liar!
She lied for a long, long time, and so, like, Nikaido would kind of hurt my spirit. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you feel betrayed?
Spirit. I felt betrayed with him, so I definitely feel like he's justified to be tight. But I don't think he should, like, dead the friendship, which it looked like he was trying to do at first. Like, oh, I don't give a fuck about Nikaido.
And knowing that you lying, you're fully lying. Up. Anytime she's going somewhere, like, where's Nikaido? Have you seen Nikaido? Like, I'm gonna go to the fucking sorcerer's realm where they have my face on wanted posters to find Nikaido.
Exactly.
You knew you was not about to leave her alone.
Right. So I concur. Last but not least, we got the Nani rating. I'll go first on this one, Shane. I think this show was cool. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that it was gonna be cool. And, like, I don't know why, but I thought when I saw the description and when we had chosen it, I was kind of excited to see it. But then when I watched the first episode and I saw the theme song, I didn't like it. Like, the theme songs mean a lot to me, and I don't know if that means a lot to anybody else, but when I see the theme song, it kind of amps me up to watch the show, and a lot of times it tells you a lot of information for the show, and it didn't do that. But the more I watched, the more I loved it. It's really graphic. It has nice action, nice characters, and to be honest, if I look at it, we actually only met about 10 characters, to be honest, but the characters were so good that I felt like I got everything I needed out of these other shows that might have like 15-20 people in the cast. So
introduce somebody every episode for
every episode, and they're all kind of trash. So, you know, this show gave me a lot of that, and I really like the characters. I only mentioned Noe and I said Nikaido were the only reputable ones, but there were a lot of characters that were super cool nonetheless. So I'm gonna give them 7.2. Like, that's pretty decent, I think, for them. They have a long ways to go because, like I said as well earlier, they didn't present a lot of questions, I feel like, to be answered. Like, a lot of big questions. Like, you know how those animes, you finish season 1 and it's like there's about 18 and a half cliffhangers. I think there's maybe like 10 cliffhangers or like 5 cliffhangers. Big ones, and they could definitely stretch them out and like it could sprout out into 1,000 roots. But like right now, because they're not fully developed, and then the few questions they asked, they didn't answer, and the way they ended. So I'm going to leave them at a 7.2, and I think that's really good for them. I'm definitely going to watch season 2 if it's there. Like, Netflix is killing it right now with the animes.
I concur. I agree with everything you said. My Nani rating for DoroHeDoro is a 7, and a lot of what Elijah said was true. Like, this is one of the animes where, like, when the season ended, I wasn't sad. Like, I was like, okay, like when I finished Demon Slayer, I was like, I googled immediately.
When is it coming back?
When is the next season? When is the next movie? When is the next clip? When is something? Like, I wanted to see it as soon as possible. Yeah. But this was a show where it's like, oh, I'm like, okay, it ended. I could wait a year for this to come back. It'll
be like a good surprise next year when I see it. It would be
something that I could put on TV. I would definitely watch season 2. The ending didn't leave me craving it. But I do recognize that it was a good anime. The animation style is also different from regular shows. So, you know, I'm usually a stickler. I like my nice crisp animation with like sharp edges and lines. So it was like a different style, which I didn't mind. I did like. It's, you know, just in opening up your repertoire, I guess, of anime choices.
Word.
It was refreshing. It was a refreshing difference than what you're accustomed to. So I think they did nail that. Again, first seasons are hard because you have a lot. You have a big,
first seasons are hard.
You have a lot to do. You have to introduce characters and plot, make it interesting enough to continue for a second season, and then you do all of that within 12 episodes, and all the while providing a decent amount of action, a decent amount of backstory. It's a lot to get done, so I think that they did
in a short amount of time. They only had 12 episodes,
exactly.
Right?
It's not like Demon Slayer had 50 episodes. They had ample time to set shit up. Not Demon Slayer. Black Clover had 50 episodes, and a lot of shows like usually do have like 20 episodes in a season. So you had a lot to do, and with the amount of episodes given, I think that they did a good job. So I'm gonna give them a 7.
I concur. Right. So next we are going to hop into Angel of Death. Yikes. Angel of Death tells...
I forgot we had to do that.
Yo, right?
Like, bye, y'all.
Angel of Death tells a story about Rachel and Isaac. Basically, Rachel wakes up one day without her memory in this sub basement of this building, and she basically has to make her way to the top to escape while she's actively being trying to be murdered on each floor. All right, so that's literally Angel of Death in a nutshell. And we're going to start off with 3 things you need to know. So the first thing you need to know is Ray and Zach. So like I said earlier, Rachel wakes up in this fucking basement and she's basically told that she's going to be killed. She's basically told that she's going to be killed and she has to make her way through these floors to escape. If she can escape each floor without dying, she'll be let free or whatever the fuck. But if she doesn't, obviously she's gonna be dead. So on the first floor she wakes up on, it is this guy Isaac's floor, right? And Isaac is this dude wrapped in bandages and he has this huge scythe and that's his method of killing. So Rachel, you know, understandably to a certain point, she kind of resigns herself to death.
Yeah.
There's one of 2 ways you could go when you're put in these type of situations.
Right
you know,
or
fight or flight, literally. Okay, so she chose not flight, but she said, I'm not going to run, just kill me. So for whatever reason, she thwarts Zach and makes it to the second floor. And the story just progresses from there. And the relationship between Rachel and Zach
is disturbing.
Is so up and down, disturbing, weird, and ultimately I do not give a fuck about them. I don't give a fuck about their friendship relationship. Start this point. Like I don't get it so badly that it's like, okay, I just don't even give a fuck to even get to know it anymore. Because he agrees to kill her. She's like, okay, copy, you're gonna kill me. She goes to the second floor, and now this guy wants to kill you. He's like, hey, I want to kill you too. And she's like, no, only Zach. Only Zach can let the last breath leave these lungs. And it's like, I was just so confused. He almost immediately stops calling her Rachel or like stupid.
Immediately.
And starts calling her Ray. Is this fucking That's So Raven?
And then even she was just like, what is you doing? Like, you're establishing bonds and connections, though. She said, Ray, why'd you call me that?
My mama don't even call me Ray. Like, so, you know, they progress through these halls, and it's just absolutely crazy that they seem to form this relationship, but it's built on him wanting to kill her.
This promise
and
that
her, him swearing that he'd kill her.
So his exact words to her I swear to God that I'll kill you. And she grabbed onto that with both fists and did not let go.
Yo, it was...
And she says it. It's so fucking annoying, but she literally says it. I'm not even going to say every episode. She says it like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She said, but Zach, you swear to God.
I swear to God. That is what you said, right? To God. Yeah, I'm sure of it. You swore to God that you were gonna kill me. So now you have to. You can't go back on that.
She tells Zach, she tells every supporting character, and they don't even stumble across a lot of people. But the few people they do stumble across, you best believe they know that promise.
Listen, anyone with ears knows this agreement that y'all have. They don't care. They're murderers. And if it's that important to you to die, why are you so adamant about who does it? Because there's a couple of people, I'm sure, I was gonna say who would have given her like a less painful death.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say. I think the doctor dude would have given her a pretty...
I don't know. He was kind of nuts. I thought that he would like pluck out her eyeballs like while she was still alive, and then because he had that thing. They were sick fucks. Yeah. Everybody had a thing. But the kid on one floor who had a crush on her, he was just like, oh, I swear I'll make it like painless or whatever. And I'm like, if there's any consolation, I guess that would be it.
Right. Not a fucking sight. But that's Ray and Zach and the confusion and the entanglement.
So next thing that you need to know about Angel of Death is the building setup. So like Elijah mentioned, when Rachel wakes up, she's on the most basement level of this building, because as we come to find out that the whole structure is essentially underground. So Rachel has to make her way through the floors to eventually get to the top, which will lead her out of the building. Each floor has a different inhabitant or angel of death, if you will, on it. And the floor is set up based on that person's kink.
Yo, like literally, because half of them seem to be getting off of this shit.
Yes. So Zach's floor looked like almost like a street. I'm gonna say this was his stomping grounds.
Like a street, like a warehouse street.
Yeah.
Like if you've seen those.
I'm gonna say that was like his stomping grounds prior to him being there, because he was a serial killer prior to being put into the building. Mm-hmm. The second floor that we see is the doctor's floor, and it looks like the inside of a hospital.
Weird.
Like with all the,
even the fake plants and like everything.
Yeah, it has a receptionist desk,
gurney.
And next, another floor has it's a graveyard setup that's run by a little boy, and it has like dirt and gravestones from prior victims of the building. That's
literally his fucking kink. Like kink is the most
accurate
word for that shit.
Another floor is like a courtroom, she had like that weird trial jail setup.
Courtroom, it's like it was kind of like a jail hallway, and each room you went into had a different way to kill him.
It was like law themed.
She was wildin'.
Yes, and then like the last floor was a church. So they put a lot of money into that building, I will say, because everyone, like, it was decked out to the nines.
Automated
for whatever
machine guns
was ready to like get you off. They put it in there for you. So that was the setup of the building, and because each floor is catered towards its host's theme, it's challenging. It's difficult, right, to make your way through this building. Like they tell you that, knowing good and well, like, there's no way, like, your chances are slim to none that you are gonna make it through. The only saving grace that these characters have is that for the most part, each floor is run by just one person. Yeah, and they don't have like a squadron of people to like send out after you. But because it is their floor, they know where everything is. They are able to manipulate your surroundings and get you killed. But Rachel was fighting tooth and nail,
all the while saying, "I want to die." Yo, I'm not even gonna say them, but one thing, guys, just look up the episode names. Just look through them. Just look through the episode names for the series.
To see how confused that this little bitch was.
Just don't even read the descriptions. Just look at the names of the episodes, and you'll see the confusion. Like, it's absolutely batshit crazy. Last but not least, we have the Angels of Death. Okay, so as Shanice mentioned, each floor had basically a floor master, and these guys, as we find out, well, this show had a lot of like religious undertones. Mm-hmm. Like, it was like rooted, as she said, the top floor was a church, and we find out the whole thing was ran by like this reverend guy, and he said he's God. In my little sub 10 floor building, I am God. And you know what? Lots of people say that. In my place, I guess I say
Well,
I'm the king.
say that.
I'm the king of this household. I don't know if I say I'm God.
A lot of people claim to be God.
It's my house. No.
Not in my house.
So, it's his crib. So he said that he was God of this place, and he decided to seek out people who he thought, had the spirit of death, took joy out of bringing about people's death. And as a God, they want to identify right from wrong. And when he identified people from wrong, he said the trials and tribulations of these floors and encountering the angels of death, if you survive, that should mean that, you're not this ancient ass person.
It was like your atonement.
Your redemption. Yeah, you're literally atonement, actually. That's the best word for it. And it's just weird. They had I didn't get it. Mm-hmm. When they kind of explained Angels of Death, I didn't like it.
I was like, I bet y'all thought y'all was so clever.
Yeah, and it's like, literally, it's like, he said, okay, humans are what make a god, and humans are what make angels. So all it takes is for people to believe this for you to actually be it. And you know what? No Child Left Behind. If you believe it is true, is that what we're going with right now? So, that's the Angels of Death. So they actually aren't angels of death, but they're people who have this affinity for killing. They don't mind killing people, and they get a real good kick out of it. And they were picked out by this reverend who thought he was God.
Beata Maria, you know I am a righteous man. Of my virtue I am justly proud.
And he was developing them to be angels of death. And we find out that, Zach was never an angel of death. He was a human in disguise.
Listen, when they tried to get into all of that, is he, ain't he, will he, won't he, do he, don't he, mumbo jumbo, I said, get the fuck. Y'all are trying to make this deep and philosophical, and it's not. It's just a bunch of shit.
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the 3 things you needed to know. We don't want to tear it apart. Those are the 3 things you need to know. But now, of course, for this anime, like it might sound, we have to have what the fuck anime. This is where we bring out the moments in this anime that just didn't make sense and the most what the fuck moments.
And it was a lot of the whole anime to me was a what the fuck moment.
Don't take the words out of my mouth, Denise. Literally, this whole anime could fall under what the fuck anime, because right down from Ray and Zach's relationship not making any fucking sense to Rachel surviving, being basically capped. Like, she was... Okay.
Oh, she was.
Rachel and Zach's relationship makes absolutely no sense. I know there's, Stockholm Syndrome or whatever.
Yeah.
I know there is that, but he wasn't your captor and you weren't held there long.
Yeah.
You kind of latched on to the first guy you saw. So their relationship, their dynamic, it seems like he wants to kill her. It seems like he doesn't want to kill her. It seems like they're about to be in a relationship. It seems like she hates him and he talks to her crazy.
He revered her. She revered him at some point. She was like, there was a 2 episodes where they went through like this identity crisis she had where she was just like, Zach is my God. And I was like, whoa there.
How did we progress from, you trying to kill me with this giant scythe to you now being my God? So that Rachel and Zach's relationship for me is just the biggest.
I like that the preacher shut that shit down and he said, that don't make no fucking sense.
And then he just switched it up again and said, 'cause I'm your God.
You are a toy!
This guy was like, oh, okay.
Right. I said, finally somebody with sense in this show. And he let me down.
Yo, the second what the fuck anime for me is, I don't know if you guys know how much blood is in the human body, and I forgot, but the amount of blood loss that Zach has incurred throughout this entire show, they have the audacity. I read
that it's about 2.5 liters.
They have the audacity to have like ploop sounds of the blood gushing out of him for about 3 episodes. He's walking around leaking blood. And
this man, like, just to paint the picture of how much this didn't make any fucking sense, this guy had to be about 120 pounds soaking wet. He was not no like rock no rock sized guy. He was this tall, skinny teenager.
And he threw his scythe into his stomach. So he had a giant gash in his stomach. And
this was after getting shot as well.
After he's been fucked on every floor.
Right. And
you've been fucked on every floor, so it's already a miracle that you're still walking around. And then now you have a gash.
Let's not forget the pre-existing condition you already have, which is being burnt. Like, his entire body is burnt from head to toe. And it's like, I'm pretty sure burn victims can get, like, that kind of stuff can get infected. But Zach was out here acting like he didn't give no kinds of fucks. And I'm just like, I don't understand. and then just to pop back up like a daisy, like everything is fine after Rachel slaps 2 bandages on it. That's not how anatomy. And I'm not gonna be the person to be like, oh well, animators need to stick to what's real and shit. But I'm like, come on,
make it make sense, yo.
Come on.
Before I go on, do you have a what the fuck anime? Because the next what the fuck thing for me was that Reverend. Everything about him was what the fuck for me. I did not get it if he had powers or not, because he had Rachel fully hallucinating. I thought I was hallucinating because I'm like, okay, well, half of these guys are supposed to be dead, but now they're in a courtroom. It just did not make sense. And I think they were trying to make it his pheromones, or maybe, he had like fungus and he speculated that he was like a mushroom. There
was a lot of things that didn't make sense, but what I didn't like was that they felt like it didn't have to make sense.
Word, right?
They were just like, you gonna take this and you gonna...
Because each floor made somewhat sense up until his floor, where he's now just letting her inhale.
Oh, the kid with
sense.
the pumpkin head made sense. He got me tight. I was like, whose child is this? Why is
there
not
there's a
like
kid in Dr. Stone with a melon head? So like I can let certain shit slide because animes tend to do it. I'm sure there's other animes I can name, like people who like put face coverings on, like that are fruit or food, and I let that rock. But like, not when you're trying to introduce something. This seemed to me like it was a 100% real life anime. It's like the real world.
That's what I'm saying.
People are
so
murdered.
In the real world, do people walk around with pumpkins on their head?
Yeah,
because to me they were treading the line a lot between how fantastical they wanted it to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that though.
Watching the trailers, I thought that it was going to be more of a supernatural anime, but then watching it's like, no, these are just regular people like doing regular shit. So like I'm expecting it to be regular shit, not somebody surviving extreme blood loss and a random kid with a pumpkin. Like I thought they set it up to look like a Law and Order SVU episode. And it was just like, oh, so y'all just gonna throw in whenever you want something to be like weird and woogie woogie woo. Like you just gonna throw it in when the need strikes. No, if it's like humans doing human things and just being humanly evil, let it be that.
Word.
But if you want it to be, this guy can produce purple smoke from his body, and we have like random children running around who have...
Because not everyone even has to have powers. You could just have had him be the only person. He was the ringleader. He could have been the only one with powers. But mention it somewhere. Make it make sense. Don't just be like, oh, in this scene, there's purple smoke that only Rachel can see.
And snakes. There was like this random snake that was trying to kill Rachel. But sometimes the snake was fake. Sometimes the snake was real. Where did the snake come from?
And then he sends her on these trials and she's hallucinating. Like, he seemed to have had control over those things. And it was so weird. He's like, what'd you see? But that, I don't know. That concludes what the fuck anime for Angel of Death. Shay, well, lock that bitch in, Shay.
TBH, I have nothing to lock in. I hope this was the end.
Right. It seemed like it was.
At the end, to me, they didn't show Zach like outright kill Rachel, but then they like show like this little cute end clip where it's like a bunch of blood in her room. But if you watched the anime, you will see how just that didn't make sense. And
how blood would have ended up in the...
how the blood would have ended up in the room after they jumped out of the window together, like both fully fine and intact.
Word.
And I'm like, don't make this look like fucking Rapunzel with because I'm like, I'm getting Disney vibes, but y'all promised was to kill you to kill her, and it's just y'all doing too much.
Right.
That's my lock in. I hope it's canceled.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock in that if there's a season 2, I'm gonna kill Rachel myself. That's how bad it got with this show. But yeah, no, I agree. I think the way it ended, I don't think there's gonna be a season 2. I don't know if they're gonna end up in another fucking sub basement. Like, I don't see how it would go.
Or
continue.
Rachel and Zach on the run, Bonnie and Clyde edition, or whatever.
Waiting to kill her, like.
Maybe that's the romance of it. You never know when. Good morning, babe. Is today today? Yeah. Who knows?
Well, my lock-in.
She's also a kid, so I hope that's not like something that they want to pull on. Okay.
My lock-in is that I'm gonna kill Rachel. Yeah.
Last
Nani
but
rating.
not least. So I can go first. My Nani rating for this, honestly, this show made me wish that I gave Plunderer a higher rating, only so that I can give this a significantly lower rating. But Elijah told me we had to be fair. Our scale is strictly from 1 to 10 because I did clarify with him if I could put negatives, and he said no. So this show is gonna get a 1. It was terrible, and it was so hard to even get through. We've been putting this off for months.
Period, man. For real. I concur with Shay. I'm not going to give it a 1.
Wow.
And the only reason I'm not going to give it a 1, I'm going to give it a 2.5. And
wow.
The only reason I'm going to give it a 2.5 is I thoroughly enjoyed their theme song every single time. So they automatically got a 1 with me. Like, I really enjoyed that theme song. Every time it came on, it hyped me up, and I swear I was watching a different show. And then we entered, and it's so like, it's this.
How could a theme song with so much promise lead to this?
You know, they probably didn't tell the artist what show they were doing it for. I don't know. But, you know, the show, it just didn't do it for me. It didn't hit on those levels. I've said to you guys a lot of times that I need those characters. And in these slower shows and a show like this, we're literally just following Rachel and Zach and one other person each episode. And then if we're lucky, we'll get 4
And there was a lot of monologuing. Like, they just talked and talked.
And it's like talked. Inner thoughts. And like after she just monologued, now she's monologuing in her head. And it's like,
saying the same things out loud that she just thought to herself. Bitch, do it all at once.
And it makes me kind of sad because I think it's such a cool concept that maybe they could have made them actual angels of death. Mm-hmm. If you've seen Angels of Death be done, maybe not in animes, but in other shows like, you know, fucking Charmed. It's not a choice. When the angel of death comes for you, they take your soul and you don't have a choice in it. So I think if they might have taken that kind of road towards it, like Rachel's down there and she has to completely avoid these motherfuckers and break out of this building while they're actually there trying to rip your soul. Maybe they'll torture you and they each have their own torture technique. And once they successfully break you using that torture technique, that's how they get your soul. There's so much. I'm not no fucking writer, but that sounds like a more interesting plot than Angels of Death actually was.
When I saw the promotional poster and like read the summary, I was actually excited for it because I thought that that's what it would be.
We went into this open-hearted.
That's why it was even on the list, because I thought that it would be something good.
We were like, after Kaguya, we really were like, yes, death? That seems cool. Y'all know how we are. We see death and we go gaga. And it just let me down. So yeah, 2.5. Just because I like how Zach talked shit about her and the theme song was pretty cool, but you know, they racked up the 2.5 points off of that and yikes, you know?
I'm flabbergasted that you gave them 2.5.
You know, I expected your 1, but I felt like I had to. If I was being completely honest, it was a 2.5. There are, I'm sure for me, animes that are worth a 1. And I'm going to reserve it for that, you know?
I'm going to give them all a 1. All 1. All y'all can stay down there.
You can take these ones, baby. But that wraps up today's episode, guys. Thanks for chatting with us. We'll talk to you next time.
Later.